In the shadows of your everyday life, something moves unseen. You wake up to familiar sounds, the hum of the city, the distant chatter of neighbors, the gentle rhythm of your own heartbeat. But beneath it all, a presence stirs. It is patient, silent, waiting. You may think you are alone, but the truth is far stranger. The darkness has already found its way into the cracks of your reality, slipping past your senses like a whisper you cannot quite hear. Objects shift when you are not looking. Fleeting shadows cross your vision, and the air sometimes feels heavy, charged with a tension you cannot explain. Every step you take is watched. Every decision nudged by forces you cannot see. You brush off the unease, attributing it to imagination or fatigue. But deep down, a part of you knows. You are not ordinary. Something has chosen you, something ancient and relentless, and it will not let go. Your daily routines are no longer your own. The coffee cup you pick up, the streets you walk, the faces you pass, each carries subtle signs, messages encoded for your eyes alone. The world continues in its mundane rhythm, unaware of the hidden currents flowing beneath. But you feel them. You sense them. You are on the edge of something vast and incomprehensible. And now the question emerges. Will you remain blind to it, or will you awaken? The path ahead is shrouded in shadows, and the choices you make will echo far beyond your understanding. Tonight, and every night after, the darkness watches, and it waits for you to see it. 1. Corrupted daily life. You wake up, and the sunlight pours through your window, warm and familiar. But something is off. The morning feels heavier than usual, as if the air itself carries a weight you cannot lift. The alarm clock rings, yet the sound seems distorted, echoing in a way that chills your bones. You get out of bed, and for a fleeting second, the floor seems to shift beneath your feet. Though it is only an illusion, or is it? These small fractures in your routine are the first whispers of the darkness that now roams your daily life. As you move through the day, ordinary objects begin to betray you. The coffee mug you reach for is slightly colder than you remember. The water in the shower carries a taste of iron that shouldn't be there. You glance at your reflection in the mirror, and for a heartbeat, your eyes look back at you differently. Hollow, as if shadowed from within. These are not coincidences. They are signs that the ordinary world is no longer entirely yours. The shadows creep into every corner, weaving themselves into the familiar and turning comfort into unease. Outside, the streets seem unchanged, but the rhythm of life carries a subtle discord. People pass you by, strangers and friends alike, yet sometimes their faces blur, or their expressions twist in ways you cannot place. Sounds take on strange qualities. Footsteps echo where no one is. Whispers slip past closed doors. You try to convince yourself it is your mind playing tricks. But a small, insistent part of you knows it is not. The darkness is patient, and it moves through the mundane, feeding on the unnoticed, the overlooked, and the unquestioned moments of your day. Even your own thoughts feel invaded. Decisions you make appear suddenly shadowed by unseen forces. A hesitation in choosing your path, a doubt in speaking a word. These are not your own fears, but suggestions from a presence that watches, waits, and nudges. Small accidents, forgotten items, fleeting déjà vu moments. All are threads in a web you cannot see, but one you are trapped in nonetheless. By evening, the corruption is unmistakable. The familiar rooms of your home feel narrower, corners darker. Lights flicker. The hum of electricity grows strange, almost alive. You realize that the world you once trusted has begun to betray you, reshaping itself around an invisible order. And yet, within this infiltration, there is a strange clarity. You are being tested. Every small disturbance, every subtle distortion, is a reminder that you are marked. The darkness does not consume blindly. It observes, it waits, it teaches, preparing you for a revelation that is coming, whether you are ready or not. 2. Signs and warnings. As days pass, the disturbances grow more deliberate, less random. You start noticing patterns, subtle signs that others would overlook but that speak directly to you. A fleeting shadow that lingers longer than it should, a strange alignment of objects on your desk, or a whisper in the wind when no one else is near. All of these are messages, coded into the fabric of your world. You are no longer just a passive observer. The universe is speaking to you, marking you as chosen. Numbers and symbols begin to appear with uncanny frequency. The clock stops at the same minute, street numbers align in strange sequences, and random phrases seem to echo your thoughts aloud. Friends mention coincidences that feel too precise to be accidental. Even dreams begin to carry weight, presenting visions that mirror events in your waking life before they occur. These warnings are not threats, they are guidance. They beckon you to pay attention, to awaken to the reality that others cannot perceive. Yet the signs are double-edged. While they mark you as the chosen, they also draw the attention of the darkness. You feel it in the sudden chill on a warm day, the inexplicable tension in a quiet room, the fleeting sensation of being followed. Sometimes, when you turn, there is nothing, yet the instinctive dread remains. The world is layered. What you see is merely the surface. Beneath it, invisible forces test your awareness, your resolve, and your courage. Every ignored warning makes the shadows bolder, more insistent. People around you remain blind to these subtle cues. They go about their routines, unaware of the signs you are receiving, unable to perceive the threads connecting ordinary events to the unseen world. This isolation becomes a silent burden. The more you notice, the more alien your surroundings feel. Yet, it is a necessary solitude. Being chosen is not a comfort, it is a responsibility. Each clue, each warning, is part of the initiation, a preparation for what lies ahead. Even ordinary conversations carry hidden significance. Words spoken in passing may carry double meanings. Gestures may signal more than they seem, and objects may appear where they should not. It is as if reality itself is adjusting, molding itself around you, subtly guiding your perception toward truths you are only beginning to grasp. And in these moments, a strange clarity emerges. You are not merely living in the world. You are part of a larger design, one that is unfolding in shadows and whispers. With every sign, the weight of choice grows heavier. The universe has called, and the darkness is aware. The warnings are constant, but only you can interpret them. To ignore them is to risk being consumed by forces you do not yet understand. To follow them is to step onto a path of awakening, where every sight, sound, and sensation carries meaning, and where being chosen is both a gift and a peril. The question remains: will you heed the signs, or will the darkness claim your ignorance as its own? 3. The invisible forces. Not all that influences your life is visible. Beyond the veil of ordinary perception, unseen entities stir, moving through spaces that appear empty to everyone else. Sometimes they are fleeting shadows at the edge of your vision. Other times, they are subtle distortions in sound, smell, or touch that hint at their presence. These forces are not bound by the rules of the physical world. They exist in the interstices of reality, shaping events, nudging decisions, and watching your every move. You begin to sense them not only in your surroundings but also in your very thoughts. A sudden hesitation, an unexplainable surge of fear, or an impulse you cannot trace. These moments are the fingerprints of invisible beings. Some seem curious, observing silently, while others are far more insidious, feeding on doubt, fear, or distraction. Their motives remain unclear, but one truth becomes undeniable. They are deeply intertwined with your existence, and their influence is constant. Objects in your home or workplace take on new meaning under their gaze. A book that falls from a shelf, a door that clicks shut by itself, a gust of wind that stirs papers without cause. Each action is purposeful, each anomaly a sign of forces at work beyond comprehension. Sometimes you feel a presence pressing against you, a weight in the room that vanishes when you turn, leaving only a lingering unease. These moments are terrifying and exhilarating at once, for they confirm that you are no longer merely a human navigating the mundane. You are part of a world that few can perceive, where the invisible guides and manipulates with unseen hands. Even people you trust may be touched by these forces. A friend's sudden change in behavior, a stranger's inexplicable glance, or an unexpected act of kindness can all be the result of unseen entities influencing the currents around you. They are subtle, indirect, and often inscrutable, yet their presence shapes your interactions, your choices, and the very flow of your days. You begin to understand that the world you thought you knew is a stage, and these invisible actors are playing roles you cannot yet decipher. Amid the fear and uncertainty, there is also a lesson. Awareness is power. By acknowledging the invisible forces, you begin to notice patterns, distinguish guidance from manipulation, and sense when an entity's intent is benevolent or malevolent. Every glance, every shadow, every whisper of movement carries information. The darkness is not merely a threat. It is a complex ecosystem of forces, some protective, some predatory, all deeply connected to your journey as the chosen one. The longer you observe, the more you realize that these forces are patient. They do not rush. They watch your habits, study your fears, and sometimes intervene in ways that seem minor but ripple through your life in profound ways. To ignore them is dangerous, but to understand them is exhausting, for it requires constant vigilance. And yet, the signs are undeniable. Your life is no longer fully your own. The invisible forces are real, persistent, and intricately woven into every moment, preparing you for a destiny that has been written in the shadows long before you became aware of it. 4. The inner struggle. Being chosen comes with a price. As the darkness presses closer, you feel its influence not only in the world around you, but within your own mind. Thoughts that once seemed natural now carry weight, and doubts creep into corners you had long ignored. Every decision becomes a battlefield, every instinct a potential weapon or trap. The inner struggle is not a single moment of fear. It is a constant tension, a tug-of-war between courage and surrender, light and shadow, clarity and confusion. You question everything, your motives, your perceptions, even your memories. Moments of indecision become critical, as small choices ripple outward in ways you cannot fully comprehend. Should you speak or remain silent? Trust or distrust? Act or wait. Each decision carries a moral weight that feels far greater than your human self can bear. The darkness does not simply test your strength. It tests your ethics, your empathy, your capacity to resist corruption, even when it offers an easier path. Temptations present themselves subtly. Power whispers in quiet tones, promising relief from fear, control over the chaos, or answers to questions you do not yet understand. The lure of immediate gratification is strong, but every compromise chips away at the integrity that defines you. You realize that the true battle is not against the shadows outside, but against the shadows within. The desires, fears, and doubts that the darkness can exploit. Fear is constant. Sometimes it manifests as panic, a physical tightening of the chest, or an overwhelming dread that clouds your mind. Other times, it is more insidious, appearing as apathy, procrastination, or the creeping thought that resistance is futile. Yet paradoxically, fear also sharpens your senses. You notice patterns more clearly, interpret signs with greater precision, and discover reserves of strength you did not know you possessed. The struggle itself becomes a teacher, revealing your limits, your vulnerabilities, and your potential. Isolation deepens the conflict. Friends and family, unaware of the invisible war you fight, continue with their routines, leaving you alone with your choices. You begin to realize that this journey cannot be shared, that the path of the chosen is inherently solitary. Still, within this solitude, clarity emerges. You see that moral integrity is not a shield against fear, but a compass, a guide through the ever-shifting darkness that seeks to distort your perception. Ultimately, the inner struggle is a crucible. Every hesitation, every doubt, every temptation is a test, refining your awareness and determination. The darkness outside mirrors the shadows within, and only by confronting your inner turmoil can you hope to face what lies ahead. To win is not to conquer the shadows completely, but to navigate them with discernment, to act with purpose, and to maintain the core of who you are despite the relentless pressures of a world that is no longer fully yours. 5. The awakening of the chosen. The moment comes when the subtle signs, the whispers, and the shadows converge into clarity. You can no longer ignore the truth. You are the chosen one. The world you thought you knew fractures, revealing hidden layers of reality where darkness and light are in constant conflict. The awakening is not sudden or gentle. It is a reckoning. Every fear, every doubt, every struggle you endured leads to this point, and you realize that to embrace your destiny is to confront the darkness head-on. At first, the shadows resist. They swirl around you like a storm, testing your resolve, probing your weaknesses, and attempting to overwhelm your senses. But the awakening changes you. Your perception sharpens. What was once hidden now becomes visible. You feel the pulse of the invisible forces, sense the patterns in the chaos, and understand that you are not powerless. The very darkness that haunted your days now serves as the arena for your transformation. With awareness comes control. The subtle nudges that once manipulated your decisions can now be recognized and countered. You learn to navigate the shadows, using fear as a guide rather than a chain. Every obstacle becomes a lesson. Every confrontation, an opportunity to strengthen your will. The internal battles that once left you trembling now fuel your courage. You realize that being chosen is not a gift of safety. It is a call to mastery over yourself and the unseen world around you. Transformation is not merely physical or mental. It is spiritual. the connection to the hidden forces deepens, granting insights into truths that were previously incomprehensible. You perceive the fragility of the ordinary world, the thin veil separating what is seen from what is hidden. The darkness that once seemed ominous now becomes a mirror, reflecting your own potential, your strengths, and the power that has always lain dormant within. Confrontation is inevitable. Entities that once lurked at the edge of perception rise, challenging your authority and testing the limits of your awakening. You face them with the knowledge that fear is no longer your master. You respond with awareness, discernment, and an unyielding resolve. The battle is not only with them but within yourself. The lingering doubts, the temptation to turn back, the shadows that whisper that you are not enough. Yet with each challenge, the chosen grows stronger, more attuned, and increasingly capable of navigating both darkness and light. Finally, the awakening culminates in a sense of alignment. The signs, the warnings, the inner struggle, and the invisible forces all coalesce into understanding. You are no longer merely a participant in life's hidden currents. You are an active force, a beacon amid shadows, capable of shaping your path and influencing the unseen world. The darkness remains, as it always will, but it no longer dominates. Instead, it exists as a terrain upon which you walk with awareness, courage, and purpose. You have awakened, and the journey of the chosen continues, ever vigilant, ever ready, in a world where shadows are eternal, and the light within you burns brighter than ever. 6. Mastery of shadows. After awakening, the chosen one realizes that understanding the darkness is only the first step. True mastery requires engagement, courage, and discipline. The shadows that once haunted and confused now become a terrain to explore, a canvas upon which your perception and will can act. Each encounter teaches new lessons. How to anticipate subtle manipulations, how to sense hidden presences, and how to move through the world without being consumed by fear. You begin to harness the invisible currents around you, learning that darkness is not simply an enemy, it is a tool. Shadows can conceal or reveal, influence or guide, if approached with awareness and respect. Through careful observation and practice, you discover that certain fears can be channeled, uncertainty can sharpen perception, and hesitation can become strategic patience. The mastery of shadows is not about domination, but about balance, about knowing when to resist and when to flow with the unseen forces. Daily life transforms yet again. Ordinary streets, once mundane, become arenas of hidden lessons. A flickering streetlight is no longer a random malfunction, but a signal. A stray sound carries meaning. Encounters with strangers are infused with significance, and even seemingly trivial decisions reveal their weight in shaping the unseen world. The chosen learns to perceive these patterns instinctively, to act decisively when required, and to retreat when danger is subtle. Even the internal struggle evolves. Doubts and fears remain, but they are now understood and contextualized. Each internal conflict becomes an opportunity to refine focus, strengthen moral integrity, and enhance resilience. Temptations still arise, whispers of power or comfort, yet they are met with discernment and control. The chosen recognizes that mastery is as much about self-discipline as it is about navigating external shadows. The journey of mastery also reveals allies and guides among the unseen forces. Not all shadows are hostile. Some offer protection, subtle guidance, or insights previously unattainable. Learning to differentiate friend from foe is critical, and over time, the chosen develops a sixth sense for the intentions and energies around them. This awareness allows you to influence outcomes without direct confrontation, turning potential threats into opportunities for growth and understanding. Ultimately, the mastery of shadows is an ongoing process. The world remains complex and full of hidden dangers, but the chosen has gained a new relationship with the darkness. It is no longer a threat to fear blindly. It is a force to interpret, navigate, and, when necessary, employ. Through this mastery, the chosen gains not just power, but wisdom, resilience, and the ability to walk confidently through a world where light and darkness are eternally intertwined. The eternal vigil. Mastery, however, does not mean the end of struggle. The chosen one comes to understand that vigilance is eternal. Darkness never rests, and the forces that move through the unseen world are patient, adaptive, and persistent. Even the smallest lapse in awareness can allow shadows to reclaim influence. The responsibility of being chosen is ongoing, requiring constant observation, discernment, and courage. Every day presents new challenges. The signs, once subtle, now arrive with clarity, but also with complexity, demanding interpretation and decisive action. The chosen must balance engagement with restraint, understanding that every intervention in the unseen world carries consequences. Even victories are temporary, for the darkness evolves, learning, testing, and probing weaknesses in ways that are not always immediately visible. Relationships are affected by this eternal vigilance. Few can comprehend the burdens borne by the chosen. Friends and family continue their lives unaware of the hidden currents surrounding them. And the chosen must navigate both the visible and invisible realms simultaneously. Solitude is common, but it is also necessary. Only through reflection and self-discipline can the chosen maintain clarity, moral integrity, and focus amidst relentless pressure. Over time, the chosen becomes a guardian of balance. Not a hero in the traditional sense, nor a figure of absolute power, but a sentinel capable of perceiving, interpreting, and influencing the hidden dynamics that shape life. Awareness, patience, and wisdom are the tools of this eternal role. Each encounter, whether subtle or dramatic, contributes to growth, understanding, and the ongoing refinement of skill. Yet even as mastery deepens, humility remains essential. The shadows are vast, ancient, and unpredictable. Arrogance invites danger. Overconfidence leads to vulnerability. The chosen learns to respect both light and darkness, to act with intention, and to accept that control is always partial, that uncertainty is inherent, and that vigilance must never waver. The eternal vigil is therefore both a challenge and a calling. It demands courage, discernment, and persistence, but it also provides insight, purpose, and connection to forces far beyond ordinary perception. The chosen walks a path that few can comprehend, embracing both the darkness and the light, ready to confront whatever arises with wisdom, strength, and unyielding awareness. In this balance lies the essence of being chosen, not immunity from fear, but the courage to face it endlessly, knowing that vigilance is the price of insight and the foundation of true power. Even the darkness, the battle is never truly over. Even after awakening, the shadows linger, subtle and patient, shaping the world in ways that remain invisible to most. Yet, you have changed. You walk through life with heightened awareness, attuned to the hidden currents that surround you, and guided by the knowledge that being chosen carries responsibility, vigilance, and courage. The darkness that once threatened to consume you now serves as a reminder of your strength and the lessons you have learned. Reflection becomes your ally. You look back on the journey, the signs you ignored, the whispers you followed, the fears you overcame, and recognize that each moment, no matter how small, was part of a larger design. You understand that the invisible forces and the internal struggles were not merely obstacles but teachers, shaping you into someone capable of navigating both the seen and unseen worlds. Every shadow, every hesitation, every temptation now holds meaning, and your choices are no longer passive. They are deliberate, informed, and purposeful. But vigilance is essential. The darkness never sleeps. It adapts, it waits, and it watches for cracks in awareness. You must remain alert, questioning what appears normal and interpreting what lies beneath the surface. Ordinary life is a battlefield of perception, where the mundane can conceal threats and the familiar can harbor secrets. To remain passive is to risk falling back into ignorance, allowing the shadows to regain influence. Awareness is your shield. Discernment is your weapon. And yet, there is hope. The journey of the chosen is not one of despair, but of empowerment. You are no longer a passive participant in the hidden currents of the world. You are an active force. Each day presents an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to act with purpose. The darkness may always exist, but so too does the light within you, the spark that allows you to see, to resist, and to shape your destiny. As you move forward, carry these truths with you. The world is more than it seems. The unseen is real, and your choices matter. Stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and remember that being chosen is not about immunity from the darkness, but about the courage to face it again and again. The shadows will come, the whispers will call, and the signs will appear. But now, you are ready. You are the chosen, and your journey continues, ever watchful, ever aware, and ever strong.